So hey everyone, so today we're going to be looking at the gold analysis, and we know that today is a Monday, which means that it produces a new weekly candle. So we're just going to briefly break it down on the weekly on gold, see where price is, how can we take advantage, and we'll jump onto the lower time frame like the 1 hour. So let's have a look at where price was last month. So we're just going to have a look. Last week, we know that price was at 4244 and we had quite a big move down. It's nearly about $150 move down to 4083. That's where it closed. And we know that this wasn't completely random why it tanked so much from Thursday and Friday. We know that the US government reopened. This is obviously building strength back in the US economy. And that's why the gold price did drop, because its dollar got stronger. Now, that's just where we are at the moment. Again, we need to pay attention to how this top wick closed. We know we don't have a bottom wick, so at any moment we could come down and get this bottom wick, come fill this bottom zone, because before we make our next move, I'm not completely convinced yet, based on my analysis, that we're going to just shoot to all-time highs just off this. I believe that we're going to come down a bit further. So let's see how price plays out this week. But let's go down to the 1 hour. I have got my drawings out, guys. So let's just do this. There we go. It's a bit messy. There we go. Perfect. So obviously I draw my stuff out before the time so that you guys are able to see. So I don't have to waste much time on the drawings. We can get straight to the analysis. So as we know, last week was our previous day. So we closed on Friday. So we were at 4,209 and we ended up closing at that 4,000. We dropped all the way down to 4,030. That was our lowest point. So now where are we at gold? Where do we think that price is going to go next? What is based on my thoughts? My prediction was on Friday, where I thought that price was firstly going to tap back into our FEG zone. So we put a stop loss above. But nevertheless, the prediction was right overall, meaning I said that gold's bullish, it's going to come down. It did tap way lower than our levels. We put this as a level of support. We broke right through that, and now we closed excuse me. We closed below here. So where do we think that price goes next? I said on Friday that if we close below here, my thoughts was that we're just going to come down into this range, probably find accumulation again before making our next move. I think that gold, in my opinion, is going to go lower than this. So I think what's going to happen is either we're going to come up a strong wick, tap into our previous day's high, grab the liquidity up here, then continue the downtrend down, and then we just start consolidating between these levels again. And that's my prediction. Or another scenario is that we just tap into here, and because we can clearly see that we haven't had enough strong bullish volume pushing up, closing above here to retest. So this could have just been a higher low for us to continue driving back up, but I'm not convinced. I think we're going to come down, tap back into these levels, and then just accumulate for a while again. Now I hope that's not the case, because then gold becomes significantly boring if we just accumulate for, this was let's check out how much this is. This was going to be 12 days, so just less than half a month of price action, which isn't too fun, because then we have to break it down on the 15 and the 5 minute to get scalps between these levels. But when there's a lot of volume, a lot of movement, we could take advantage of higher time frames. So that's my thoughts and analysis on gold this week, where I think we're going to be going. Might happen sooner or later, but overall direction, I am bearish on gold.
All right, I want to talk to you about something important, where your trade matters. I get asked this all the time. Where do you trade? Which broker can I actually trust? Well, my answer never changes. I've been using FX Pro for years now, and that's my recommendation for beginners and pros. Here's why. First, reliability. This isn't some flyby operation. FX Pro has survived in the market since 2006. They've survived every financial crisis, and they're still standing strong. Second, reputation. FX Pro is an official partner for McLaren Formula One racing team. Companies at this level don't associate themselves with sketchy brokers. This is a world-class, trusted operation. What matters most to me? I personally tested their deposits and withdrawals multiple times. Everything works smoothly, no issues, no delays. That's huge when you're dealing with real money. Fourth, trading conditions. FX Pro offers some of the lowest spreads and commissions in the industry. We're talking about spreads from 0 pips on major pairs with competitive commission structures. This means more of your profits stay in your pocket. And here's the best part. I've negotiated a special link just for my subscribers where you get access to the best possible trading conditions with the lowest commissions available. I've put it at the bottom of the description and in the pinned comment. If you're serious about trading, use that link.
So guys, now we'll break down the Euro USD. So as usual, we'll start on the weekly because today is the Monday. So we're just going to break it down. How can we take advantage of the weekly on the Euro USD? So what I've spotted on the Euro USD, something that's important, is a trend line that we have been respecting on the weekly. Now, again, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on this trend line, which means it is a valid trend line. Now, how can we take advantage of this trend line? We can break it down on the weekly, and then we can get a position on our 1 hour based on my analysis. So you can see that we tapped into some sort of level of support on the weekly time frame. Now, we have tapped once before onto our buy side liquidity, meaning that at any point this candle can reject. But based on my analysis, I think that we can still come up, back into our trend line zone before coming back down, before making our next move. We also just need to pay attention that we have tapped into that level, so at any point this can reject. So at any point we can still play this trend line before we break below this level of support, acting as a resistance and come tap below into these levels. That's where I see the weekly playing out. I'm currently bullish so far on the weekly because I think we still need to come back up until we break and close below here and start forming structure to the downside. That's when I'll turn bearish on Euro USD. But at the moment, I still see some bullish price action coming this week. Now, let's go to our 1 hour. Obviously, I've marked up my 1 hour before, guys. Alright, here's my 1 hour. Let's wait till it loads. I just need to do that. Cool. All right, so based on the 1 hour, now again, what I want to do is I just want to draw my trend line. It's going to look a bit messy like that, but we just want to draw my weekly trend line for you to see how we're going to add confluence to our current analysis. So we're going to do that, do on there. Yeah, that's fine. That's good for me. Now we can go back to our 1 hour and we can see how we can take advantage of that current trend line over there. That's what I wanted to point out. So that's what I was saying on the weekly. Remember, I was saying that we could still come up and tap above. Now, why am I convinced that we're still bullish? Is if we base it off, just remember guys, this is our weekly trend line. We're still quite far away from it. We still got to tap into the buy side liquidity, break the previous month's high, and then we'll tap into that weekly trend line. But at the moment, we can see on the smaller time frame, which is the 1 hour, we can see that we are respecting another trend line. On the 1 hour, we've had multiple touches, and when I sent them my analysis on Friday, I said that we're going to tap back below, and if we continue respecting this trend line, we can see we got a nice perfect little bounce off that start of the week. Now tapped onto that trend line start of this Monday morning, and we continue to go back up. Now again, it's not too convincing that that's fully respected. At any point we could close below this trend line. This is acting as a support trend line. We have closed below our previous day's low, so it's something to pay attention to. So before anything, what I predict price will continue doing, I think we're going to continue going up, tap into our previous day's high, retest this trend line, tap into our buy side liquidity, and retest this level, which is a previous level of resistance, now taps as a level of support, and make our way to a weekly trend line. This is the bullish scenario. Now, if we continue, if today closes bearish, obviously our analysis will change. So we could break below here, tap this trend line. If the trend line is going to be continuing to play, remember at any moment this trend line could become invalidated, so we have to pay attention to that. But if it's going to act as a resistance trend line, we can still play those levels. And if we're going to tap in, I believe that we're going to tap into this minor level of support over here, and then we could start becoming bearish at any moment. So price could bounce off here, reject, tap off there, and price could do this and play along into the next level of support. So that's my analysis on where I think this week's going to play out. Now again, bullish, we continue the bullish momentum to the upside, take out these previous days high, continue price structure. Now again, we could just consolidate. There is a range being formed over here. There's some sort of range being formed. Let me just point this out. It's obviously going to overtake this, but if we take that and we take this, we know that we are in this range at the moment. So now again, in theory, we are closing below structure. We are closing below the consolidation level. So at any moment, this price could reject and we could start forming bearish. But my prediction is that we're going to just reject off this trend line, push back up and consolidate maybe for a little bit. And then the rest of the week, we should have clean traffic to the upside, tap our buy side liquidity, come back down, retest this level of resistance, now act on a level of support, and then push back up. So for now, I am neutral. I'm not necessarily bullish or bearish on the EURUSD. I need more price action to form, but I'll be updating you guys on Wednesday and Friday. So the next analysis will be on Wednesday. But if you are in my group, you'll get daily analysis and daily market updates on where I think price is going to go next, because maybe price rejects for today, maybe it rejects tomorrow. So we will only know, and I'll post regular updates in my Telegram group so you can get daily updates on there. So if anything changes, I will be updating you, and we will be able to get a final analysis of where I think the price of EURUSD is going to go next. Thanks again for watching, guys.